All right, this is another video on dreams and the rabbit hole you'll go down. And after this, I'm probably going to do a rabbit hole of anime and then a rabbit hole of raunchy adult cartoons after that. But let's keep it on the dreams. So dreams are interesting because there's really so many different variations of what a dream could be considered, and we give them different names. So, for example, we have daydreams, which is basically you just zoning out. You might be cooking, or you might be at work sitting at a desk, and you just zone out for a cool minute and you start visualizing all this interesting stuff. Rather you're visualizing like these characters going on an adventure in a desert, or you're picturing a woman just standing in a desert. Your stuff like that. And this is usually where people get their inspirations from. They usually get their inspirations from dreams. They get their inspirations from nightmares. They get their inspirations from other artists that they like. Rappers, singers, dancers, painters, authors. And they try to kind of emulate, the people that they like. For example, I do this a lot with my own novel. Even though I'm not technically drawing, I do get inspiration from people like Mobius, people like Grant Morrison, people like what's his name? Neil Gaiman. And I know the controversies he's going through right now, but I'm talking about the inspiration from the story. You got to separate the artist from the art, so it is what it is. But I get inspiration from him. I get inspiration from Oda. I get inspiration from George R. R. Martin. I get inspiration from a lot of that stuff, but I also get inspiration from stuff like Invincible, stuff like Hunter x Hunter, stuff like Bleach, all my favorite shows, Full Metal Alchemist, all these shows. I basically try to schizo remix them and put them all into my novel pretty much, when it comes to that. And that's one way that I get inspiration, but I get inspiration from my dreams. My dreams are very crazy. Like I said before, my dreams could be kind of schizo and they could be random stuff. Like, I've had dreams about having a very deep connection with a woman, and it's just like the deepest connection you've ever had. I've had dreams where I literally cried in the dream and woke up and I was crying in real life. Of course, like if you have bad feelings before you go to sleep, you have, feelings of anxiety, stress, anger, stuff like that, you'll have dreams of like demons and scary stuff. Anybody who says they haven't is really honestly just lying through their teeth. You've had dreams about scary stuff like that, and nightmares and whatnot. So you'll have the nightmare dreams. You'll have these like strange dreams where it's like an infinite neighborhood. Like, I've had dreams about like different types of neighborhoods. One is like an infinite fun neighborhood. It's like it goes on for miles, and it's like you'll have like a little cul-de-sac, right? Like it looks like a real neighborhood, but it's like it looks like all the neighborhoods, all the type of neighborhoods you can have combined into one. Like, where it's like the first street, it's just a couple of houses, you drive, and then there's like a park, but it's like a super jumbo sized park. Like, the park is like super sized, where probably like 4,000 kids could go to this park because it's so big. Like, it's crazy. I've had dreams like that where like the park is so big it's like not even funny. And then it's like the neighborhood is just endless. It's an endless neighborhood that you can endlessly go through, and it makes it fun because it's endless, and it's like, oh, so much different things can happen in this endless neighborhood. But then I've also had these dreams where they're kind of just like birthday parties. I've had birthday party dreams a lot of times. It's very, very interesting to me. And I looked it up, and basically what it is it said that my subconscious knows that I'm stressed all day, and it's trying to heal me and relax my inner child by having me have a bunch of birthdays. Now, these birthdays are completely different from one another. There's the one where it's like everybody is outside and we're having a birthday. I remember because I dream about the Chow Garden from Sonic a lot. That's like something I dream about a lot for some reason. I think it's just because it's so connected to my inner child. I was so obsessed with Sonic when I was a kid. I still am, and Pokemon, to the point where I still dream about Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I still dream about those two games to this day. But I remember I used to have dreams about the Chow Gardens all the time, and one of the ones I remember the most is Sonic going into the Chao Garden, and when he goes into the main Chao Garden that you go to in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, the one in the middle, the neutral Chao Garden, he goes in it one day, and it's like, instead of it looking like just a video game, it looks like real life. The sun is shining. The sun is very shiny and yellow and orangish. The background is like real grass. There's like giant table, and there's like 400 chows at this table. And it's funny because I always wished you could have more than, like, I think the max amount you could have in every garden, I think it's 8 in every garden that you can have is the max amount. I always wish there was a way to have like 300 of them in one garden. But of course that would take up more data and space on the game disc. But that to me was always like, man, that would have been so cool. But that's an example of a birthday party I've had. I've had one where it's just people I knew throughout my life and we're outside. There was another one I had where it was like really strange, where I was in my grandma's old house. You look out the window, it looks like a storm, right? But when you go to the left of her kitchen, there was like a laundry room and there's an outside door. When I went to the left and looked out the door, it was like weird and kind of like a dreamlike sequence in a dream, where it was like all these people wearing white, and they were like green looking goblin looking things. It was so weird. It was like a different universe. It was almost like, it was trying to take me into a portal into a different world. It was really interesting to me. But that was another example. And there's another one I had where basically it was like we were in this, it was nighttime. A lot of my dreams are at nighttime. It was nighttime. We went into this kind of like mall strip. It was small. It was just like, and it reminded me of a storage place, even though it didn't look like a storage place. But there was like 3 buildings. There was one building in the middle. Me and my mom went to it. When we went inside, it was an arcade, and the arcade was like super duper big. It was weird. It was like when you first walked in, it was kind of smallish. But when you walked to the right, there's like an extra room. There was no door. It was just an extra room that was open. You go through it. There's an even bigger room there with a whole bunch of arcade games. And it was just in a whole bunch of different games you'd see at, like Chuck E. Cheese and stuff. It had like foosball, stuff like that. It was on its John Incredible Pizza thing. It was because it was big. There was a whole bunch of stuff in it. Dave and Buster style, right? But it had all that in there. Then there was another dream I had that was even more interesting. This one was more of a Dreamcore dream, and it might just be because I watch a lot of Dreamcore. I love the music. I love the style of the videos because they do look like what dreams look like pretty much. This dream basically was like, there was like a restaurant that was kind of like McDonald's, but it was like pinkish and yellow instead of red and yellow. And so like the guys were wearing like pink and yellow at the front desk where you get the food at. And it was like in the middle of this like giant empty storage kind of building. It was like a what are they called? Like those buildings that they not construction, factory building, right? It was weird. And then it was like there was that store, and then there was a whole bunch of bouncy houses and a whole bunch of like carnival stuff in it. Again, I looked it up, and it basically just said that it's my subconscious trying to like heal my inner child and help me relax when I sleep, which is nice. That was another example. Follow me for more schizo dreams, because I didn't have so many crazy dreams, bro, man. These are just a few that I'm telling y'all.